Look at the sheer verticality of this hull. You're staring at 1,000 feet of steel stacked 20 stories high above the waterline. We are talking about 8 distinct neighborhoods, 40 different restaurants, and on a standard sailing, 7,000 passengers on board. That volume of options creates a specific problem, the paradox of choice. Dozens of ways to spend every hour means every decision carries a heavy opportunity cost. If you board expecting a passive, spontaneous beach resort vacation, you are going to stand in lines. A ship of this magnitude demands a strategy. Marketing brochures show empty pools and bartenders waiting to take your order. The mathematical reality is you are sharing this infrastructure with thousands of people who want the exact same thing at the exact same time. To get value out of a megaship, you have to treat it like a return on investment problem. Your time, energy, and planning are the primary assets you manage to secure a high-value experience. Let's look at the default approach. You walk on board without a schedule, relying on general admission areas and figuring you'll just wander into whatever looks fun. That approach leads you straight into the most heavily trafficked bottlenecks on the ship. You end up in places like the Royal Promenade, simply because they are geographically central. This grid maps the spatial reality. Plotting 7,000 people onto this square footage reveals the extreme density. Without a targeted plan, you will spend your trip navigating massive choke points, competing for space in the exact places everyone else defaults to. By the second day, decision fatigue sets in. Just trying to find a table for lunch becomes a 30-minute negotiation with the crowds. True luxury on a ship this size doesn't happen by accident. You have to trade the idea of a spontaneous vacation for a ruthless, deliberate strategy. This chart plots our strategies by effort, cost, and impact. If we look at the top right section, high cost and high exclusivity, we find the suite neighborhood. Out of nearly 3,000 rooms on the ship, less than 200 are designated as suites. That scarcity is exactly what you are paying for. The premium grants you gated access to the 18th and 19th floors. You get private plunge pools and dedicated lounges and exclusive restaurants like Coastal Kitchen, completely separate from the main decks. The trade-off is capital. You are paying a heavy premium up front for the key card that grants you entry to these gates. This choice directly solves the density problem we mapped earlier. You bypass the bottlenecks by living above them, effectively turning a crowded megaship into a private boutique hotel. For those with budget flexibility, deploying capital to buy your way out of the general population is the most direct path to a low-friction vacation. This chart plots our next move in the bottom right quadrant. Accessing the ship's marvels without spending extra cash requires low capital but high effort. The highest demand is always focused on marquee engineering, like these water slides at the stern, the floor drop rides, the Flow Rider surf simulator, and the indoor ice rink. Your input here is time shifting. You tackle these areas at 7 in the morning or stay on board while everyone else disembarks during a port day. The result is that you walk straight on to world-class attractions. You get the drop slide and the surf machines to yourself with zero wait time. The cost is your sleep schedule. You have to ignore the traditional relaxed vacation mindset and execute a rigid hour-by-hour itinerary while the rest of the ship is in bed. Time shifting is the ultimate equalizer. It allows you to extract premium value and private access using pure effort instead of money. The final strategy lives in the low-cost, low-effort quadrant, locating hidden micro-luxuries. Because human behavior is predictable, the vast majority of passengers will congregate right in the middle of the hull. It is close to the elevators and requires the least amount of walking. Your strategy is to actively walk away from that center of gravity, pushing out to the absolute front or rear extremities of the decks. Take this massive glass dome sitting at the very front of the ship. It houses the aquadome and the overlook pods, quiet hangout areas far removed from the noisy main pools. Or consider Central Park. Tucked into the interior, it uses 33,000 live plants and quiet jazz bars to create an architectural oasis in the middle of the steel. The only real trade-off here is physical. Navigating a 20-story, 1,000-foot-long footprint multiple times a day will put serious miles on your shoes. By leveraging the ship's massive geography against the lazy spatial habits of the average passenger, you reach high-end, peaceful environments completely free of charge. Now we map these strategies directly to your specific goals. This checklist outlines two distinct paths: the luxury seeker and the optimizer. The luxury seeker invests in suite class, skipping chaotic main pools for private enclaves. The optimizer skips upcharges, prioritizing free amenities and a strict early morning schedule for Thrill Island. Maximizing a 7,000-person ship comes down to one skill: knowing exactly when to join the crowd and exactly when to exit it. The ship itself is just a tool. The actual quality of your trip depends entirely on how ruthlessly you curate its offerings to protect your time. A true luxury experience on a modern mega cruise is never found by accident. It must be carefully engineered.